Hey everybody, Mary Thomas with Remax Professionals coming to you in the area code 775, and I have my good friend Jennifer. Jennifer, who are you?
Hi, Mary. It's Jennifer Fiore at Guild Mortgage from the Sparks Vista office.
And lately, you guys, we've been doing those videos on refinancing. If you're going to refinance, but you think of purchasing in the future, how to do it, what steps to take. We're going to go along those lines, but talk about a little bit of a slight turn. Number one question of the day, I guess we would say, is if we are going to move in the near future and we have a home, Jennifer, do we really need to get pre-approved in order to take the next step?
I would say definitely yes. Whether you already own a home or you're a brand new home buyer or you're thinking about refinancing, the first most important step is reaching out to your lender. And I would say even more specifically, meeting with your lender to kind of go over your financial details. There's a big difference between being pre-qualified and pre-approved. So pre-qualified is where you just give us the basic information, how much money you make, the scenario, and we can tell, excuse me, we can tell you based on that real quick that the numbers look in line. But we haven't gone a step further, which is a pre-approval. And a pre-approval means we collect all the documentation needed to verify your income, verify your assets, verify that you meet the guidelines for whatever program you've chosen to use, and do the due diligence. So there's a big difference, and you always want to be pre-approved when you're out looking to purchase a home, not just pre-qualified.
Okay, so the first step is kind of just having initial conversation, looking at verbally what our financials are and which way we can go. And the second step is actually turning over all that documentation and running it and verifying that we can do the plan we set forth. Am I on the right track?
That's exactly right. Yeah, the documentation is so important to verify the strength of your approval. It really is. If you've talked to an online lender just on the phone and you've not supplied any of that information and they tell you you're pre-approved, you can start looking. That's probably not the case. You haven't fully gone through the pre-approval process. So that means down the road, certain surprises or pitfalls could come into play once they get the documentation, and that just makes the situation more stressful than it already is. So it's best to do the due diligence up front and truly get fully pre-approved with the documentation.
So how do we know what step is time to go shopping? Is it when they say, or is it that we know we've turned over documentation and they've ran those numbers and they get back to us? What step do we know we can go shopping?
Yeah, that's where you really want to stay in contact with your lender, because if you have met with them and you've given them the documentation and they tell you, okay, everything looks good, then should do their due diligence on their side as well to verify that information. Once you've given them that documentation and they've confirmed it all, they're going to be able to tell you, okay, now you can go shop and you have a green light. Here are your parameters. Don't go over this purchase price. Yes, you can buy manufactured. No, you can't. Yes, you can buy condo. No, you can't. Because those are a lot of specific details. Each property is a little bit different, and not all buyers can get approved for a manufactured or a condo or an FHA or a conventional. So really, as a consumer, you should be able to know, one, what type of loan am I going to be utilizing, conventional, VA, USDA. Two, how much money am I going to be required to come out of pocket? Three, what is my monthly payment going to be? And four, am I able to look at manufactured homes or condos? You should be able to answer all those questions, and those should be given to you by your lender. So if you don't know those answers, I would reach out and verify, make sure, or give me a call and I'll help you figure that out.
Okay.
But you want those answers. You really do.
So, and each time it's pretty quick. It's not like to do the initial conversations about 5 or 10 minutes and we have a rough idea and then
Right.
we turn over those documents. It sounds like if someone was going through you to get pre-approved, they're going through several steps, but it's not like a whole day of their time. It's very little time, but they have about 2 to 3 before they have the confirmation from you, the lender, of what
Correct.
exactly they can go, what kind of loan they can go, which way they can go, what kind of home they can buy, and that's when you
Right.
get the green light and then
Correct.
pre-approval. Okay,
Yep.
that clears up some of the confusion. I mean, that's what we love about the business is it's like a fingerprint. Everything is very unique and different, but also it gets overwhelming sometimes. So we're like, wait,
It
can we
does.
or can't we?
It does. It does. And the process is really different for everybody. Some clients, they can turn over their documentation and we can have a green light in an hour. And
Oh,
then other clients, it could take 6 hours or 24 hours because part of that process from the lender's perspective is once we have your documentation, we're going to actually go a step further and verify some things with your employer. So if they take a couple hours to get that information back to us, it's going to delay it. If they're really quick on it, we can turn it around pretty fast. And then there's some employers here that have a third party called the work number that verify the information within moments. So everybody is a little bit different, but the documentation is the key to help us get to that step to really have the full official green light.
so if you haven't turned over your documentation, probably we shouldn't go shopping. Maybe we
Correct.
should go shopping, but we don't want a heartache. So you definitely don't want to put an offer in. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay.
That's right. Yep.
Until that documentation is verified. Well, that makes sense. But it sounds like it could be very quick most of the time. We could be shopping within a couple days of the
Yep.
process. Oh,
That's right. And I think the biggest question people have once they get the green light then is, well, how long is this pre-approval good for? And there are timelines on it. As long as nothing changes, right? You haven't quit your job, all of a sudden not paid your bills after you were pre-approved. Technically, your credit report is good for 120 days, so 4 months. So your approval should stay intact for 4 months, again, as long as nothing big has changed. If it expires, i.e., that means if your credit report expires, then the lender just pulls a new credit report. And again, if nothing has changed financially, then your approval is back intact for another 4 months while you shop. So
okay.
it's not so bad,
Well, that's not horrible because sometimes it does take us a little while, and that's
right?
okay. You're buying your
Yep,
home. It's a big purchase and it's
yep,
something very important. So if it takes months to find what we're looking for, that's okay. But we shouldn't be scared to hurry and rush if our pre-approval is going to expire.
right,
As long as
right.
we don't make any changes, it's simple just to re-verify things and get a new
Yep,
pre-approval.
yep,
Okay. Oh, well,
yeah.
taking the worry away.
That's what we're here for.
I
I think
love
some of the other big things people question is, well, what could alter my approval even if in that 4 month time frame? And if you go out and make a big purchase like buy a truck or something that wasn't there, that your financial snapshot fingerprint has changed, that's where again you just want to have a conversation with your lender. And I'll have clients who are pre-approved, their truck breaks down, they got to go get another truck. They'll just simply call and go, Jen, we're pre-approved for this much, I have to go get a vehicle and if the payment on it's going to be this, is that going to alter my approval? But at least they know before doing it and they verify, yes, it's going to, so they know what that means in their purchase, or no, it's not, and they're okay to do it. So some things can alter that approval, but just stay in communication with your lender. Life changes, just keep talking to them and you can work together and make sure it stays intact.
life does happen whether we want it to
Yes,
or not.
correct.
But you're there for that process of, hey, things have changed. We're still wanting to do our goal, but we
Yep,
need help to make sure that we don't mess up what we were thinking of doing. So a little
yep,
small conversation goes a long way, it
yep.
sounds like.
That's exactly right. Yep, communication and documentation. It's amazing.
What if we're refinancing and moving soon? We've done the refinancing part to maybe buy a new home and put that down payment on, which you've guided us through to do the right way. Um,
Right.
what, but we're not moving for several months. Again, what should we do in the process, or maybe what should we not do while we're waiting to close on that loan? How does that work?
It kind of goes back to that same idea. If something's going to change, meaning you get a new job offer that potentially can be more money, or you need to go spend some money on a new vehicle or what have you, just make sure you reach out to your lender to give them that update so they can update their figures to make sure that it's not going to stand in your way for the end goal, which is buying that new home.
Okay.
And if it does, you're going to know that before the decision's made. I mean, it's not like you're asking us for permission. You can do whatever you want, but it's just being a wise consumer to make sure my ducks are in a row. I know that if I take this step, if I take this new job, or if I buy this vehicle, it's not going to mean I can't go buy my home that I want to in 2 or 3 or 4 months. And the biggest thing when we look at job changes is income is very specific. So, whether your salary or your hourly or your 1099, if you switch to a different type of income or job, sometimes a lender might not be able to use that new income at all. So those are things and reasons why you want to talk to your lender to make sure it's not going to have a negative impact. So just
Kind of sounds
keep
just like having
updating.
conversations
Mhm.
to know your options and make
Right,
that
right.
executive decision on what options the best for me and my goals and which way to go. You're
Yep,
basically just saying this is what this one would look like if you did this, and this would look like this, and
yep.
whichever one you prefer.
That's right. Yep,
Oh,
that's
okay.
right.
In this process, it's very, especially when you're buying a home, but you're staying in your home because you don't want to rent.
Yep,
In the meantime, it sounds all very tricky and like, man, I don't even know if we want to do that. But in all reality, it's not as hard as it seems as long
no,
as you have those conversations along the
right.
way, just a quick little check-in to make sure nothing
Yep.
changes. Is that right? Or
That is correct. And a lot of it has to do with having the right team, right? It takes a village these days, quite honestly, especially if you are keeping your home and then buying another, or selling your home and buying another. It can seem very overwhelming, but that's where you and I work together with the consumer, with the buyer, to make sure we're all aware of what step we're in, where we're going, so that it's not as painful as it could be. Because there's plenty of buyers who do that, sell a home one day and close on their new home the same day, and we help coordinate how do you do the moving time frames and everything. That's where you help Mary as well. You're super great at that with your clients. So it's just having the
love
right
doing
team
it.
to walk these buyers through that process. But it can be done, and it's happening quite often right now.
Okay. So it's like eh, just knowing the steps in a well-educated buyer, seller helps avoid problems, but more so gets you to your destination without knowing. Knowledge is power. So if you know
Yeah,
what to look out for, if you know what your steps to take are, it really
yeah,
just kind of makes it all that much more simple.
that's correct.
Ah, well,
Yep,
see, that's what we're trying to do and make sure that we give the knowledge to you guys, because really we love what we do and we want to make it as painless as possible, because sometimes it gets a little stressful, but in the instance of anyone who has done the research or um, knows the options, it's a lot less painful and more so kind of like very exciting. And I would never say it's easy to do, but lot more easy to do and nothing to be scared of. So,
so
uh,
true.
and I love though that, like I said, I only want to put people forth that I know I've worked with and that will call you very quickly to make sure. If Jennifer won't, her team will call you right away to make sure that these questions are handled. If you have any questions, and you're very good about keeping people informed of what's going on your side, because being in the dark is never fun. And so we want to make sure that you guys know we'll never keep you in dark. You're
Yep,
going to know every step along the way and what to
yep,
do. And we're your resource. So shoot us a call anytime, even if you're not even started and just want to chat. Um,
exactly.
if they do want to have a conversation with you, Jennifer, how would they get a hold of you to start this process?
The best way is, quite honestly, my cell number. That number is 775-338-5059. It is right next to me. It's my alarm clock. Please don't call me after 10 o'clock at night. But other than that, you can call me on the weekends, call me on the evenings. I'm always available. So,
And you guys, if you want to just start the conversation of maybe selling your home, but you're wanting to know the new builds around the area, or maybe not a new build, you want a home with character and the trees, the nature, things that you get with a resale home, shoot me a call. I'll love to chat about your options and how we can take each step safely without a lot of stress. You can reach out to my cell as well, 775-682-1973. Jennifer, thank you so much again for joining us and teaching us a little bit more about the process of getting pre-approved and how to make our next step.
Thank you so much, Mary. Appreciate it.
Bye, you guys. Till next time.